Hey, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all about gentle skincare, sometimes self-care, and today we're talking my top 5 Haruharu skincare products. Now, these are my personal favorites from the brand that are fragrance-free, essential oil-free, and drying alcohol-free that suit my sensitive skin. So if you're ready to hear about my favorite picks from Haruharu, give the video a big thumbs up and let's get started. So first up, let's talk about the Centella 4% tranexamic acid dark spot go away serum. Now I've been raving about this since the spring because this has been really great for helping to bright hyperpigmentation on my face. And I'm talking about especially those dark marks that happen after a pimple. Oh, I'm so prone to them. And they are really frustrating because they can take a long time to fade away. And so what I really like about this serum is they're not just focusing in on the tranexamic acid. They're using 4% here, which is a good amount, and I have found really good success with this particular brightening ingredient, especially for the dark marks. But they're also combining it with 4% of niacinamide, which we know is a really fantastic and very reliable brightener for the skin. And they're also using just the tiniest little bit of vitamin C in the form of ascorbic acid as well as sodium ascorbyl phosphate. So this is really compelling because we've got some really great active ingredients here working to brighten up your skin, a multitude of them, right? Not just relying on one or a high percentage, but there's a couple of different ones. So they're kind of coming at the hyperpigmentation in different ways. And I find that to be extremely beneficial for helping to fade hyperpigmentation faster. They're also using Centella in the formula. And while that's not a direct skin brightening ingredient, it is actually a great anti-inflammatory ingredient, particularly good for sensitive skin and acne prone skin. And for me, like I'm saying, dark marks, right? The key here is the hyperpigmentation is what causes the dark mark. So if we can try to control that inflammation or at least lessen it, the dark mark is not going to be as severe on the skin because the damage isn't as severe on the skin when it's not inflamed as much. It also has a fantastic gel texture, which makes me really enthusiastic about recommending it to a lot of different folks because it's just a really nice hydrating gel texture. It's thin, it's lightweight, it's extremely breathable. It is not pore clogging. It really just gets the job done, but it's not so runny that you couldn't use this serum as a spot treatment for some dark marks, or really even if you have some discoloration or patches of sun damage, you could certainly use this as a spot treatment. And so I sometimes will use this full face and it's a goodie, especially for just brightening up and evening out your complexion. But sometimes I'll just use this as a spot treatment, especially when I'm using aggressive actives like retinoids, right? And I don't want to like bombard my face with too much. I'll just use a little dab of this and I'll put it, maybe I have a hyperpigmentation here, I've got some sun damage on my cheeks, and I'll just do a tiny little isolated spot application. And this is actually really beneficial. It definitely helps to fade the marks faster. And like I said, that texture makes it good for just kind of keeping it in that area. But for a full face application, it's really comfortable too. So I've seen really good success with this one ever since I started using it in the spring of this year. It is really just so helpful for those post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation marks. Now let's talk about the Black Rice Hyaluronic Acid Toner fragrance-free version. Haruharu does this sometimes, not with all of their products, but there are quite a few different versions of their products where they're using all the same active and beneficial ingredients, but they do have a version with some scent, with some fragrance, generally coming from essential oils, and then they will have a fragrance-free option. So if you do have sensitive skin, it might be worth seeking out if there's a fragrance-free version in the Haruharu line. And the funny thing is, I remember when I first tried this toner out, this was at least 2 or 3 years ago at this point, I was like, it's okay. It's okay. It didn't make a big impression on me, but the funny thing is, and that's the thing about like first impression types of reviews, right? It's like they can only give you so much information and they are really just a snippet of a very short experience. But the funny thing is, I was like, yeah, you know, whatever. It's like not that impressive. Kept using it though. Finished the bottle though. Bought another bottle though. And I've used a few bottles throughout the years of this as well. And so I was like, you know, you really need to revisit your opinion about being like, That's okay. No, I actually do really enjoy this. This is a very solid hydrating toner in my opinion. It is one that has a little bit more body to it. So you do feel a good hydration with this, but there's a little bit more of a slip and just a tiny bit of plumpness that this brings to the skin that's actually really pleasant. I do find this to be a replenishing toner, a balancing toner, a gentle toner, but not a sticky toner, not a heavy, overwhelming type of toner, not something that's going to weigh your skin down. I do think a majority of skin types will enjoy this, even with that little bit of plump and slickness to this with the hyaluronic acid. I don't find it overwhelming. There's not a lot of bells and whistles on it, and I think that that's actually a good thing. It's also like just very much an affordable toner. I'm routinely finding this on sale for like $10, $12. So I think it's just a really good value overall. And like I said, I've invited this into my skincare routine many times over the years. And I think it's that combination of like solid performing, no bells and whistles, nothing to worry about it, good performing texture and value that all come together to make this something that I am happy to use over and over and over again. Black Rice Probiotics Barrier Essence. Now this is a fairly new release from Haruharu. It just came out this year, and it's actually a really intriguing release, I think, because they're using a very interesting mix of active ingredients that I have not seen them use like throughout the rest of their skincare lineup. So I think that this is really adding something new to the brand, and it is a really great ingredients list. We do have 5 different types of ceramides, cholesterol, and fatty acids present here on the list, and this is important for something that claims to be a barrier essence. These are the 3 ingredients that, like, if you could have no other ingredients to heal or to strengthen your skin barrier, it has to be these 3 because they are the ones that make up the majority of your skin barrier or that lipid layer within the skin. Ceramides make up 50%, and there are different kinds or types of ceramides, so they're using 5 different ones. So variety is the spice of life. It's a good thing, right? Cholesterol and fatty acids respectively make up 25% of the skin barrier. And so when your skin barrier is weak or when it's damaged, that those lipids are depleted. And so adding them back in topically through skincare really helps to fortify up that skin barrier. They're also using a lot of different emollients that bring their own fatty acid content to this lipid party, if you will, to help strengthen the barrier. They're using meadowfoam seed oil, sunflower seed, squalane, and so this is really bringing up the emolliency, the moisture, and the richness of this essence. But this is also an essence that claims probiotics, right? So we do have some fermented content in here as well. And when you ferment an ingredient, I always say this, but it's always good to remember, when you ferment an ingredient, you unlock a lot of the potential for skin nutrition, particularly probiotics, which help feed the skin microbiome, which interestingly is your skin's first defense against aggressors, right? Against bacteria, pollution, all the things that can stress our skin out, that can damage our skin in the long run. And there is so much research out there emerging now that there is a really beautiful synergy to the microbiome and the skin barrier. These two actually work in tandem to protect our skin and to maintain skin health. And it can really help with so many things like bright, glowy, healthy looking skin for sure. It can be beneficial for acne prone skin. It can be beneficial for sensitive and inflammation prone skin. It can be good for skin conditions like rosacea and eczema and psoriasis and all other types of things, right? A healthy microbiome and a healthy skin barrier equals healthy skin that looks beautiful, right? The fermented content is unlocking the probiotics, which help to strengthen up the skin microbiome. We have galactomyces ferment. So good for the skin. There's lots of amino acids, vitamins, minerals, antioxidants within galactomyces, probiotics, all of these things that not only feed the microbiome, but actually help to promote that glowy look with skin that can give a very even-toned, bright appearance to the skin, that help with that slow aging process or the well aging process. We also have bifida ferment, which is an interesting fermented ingredient that does a lot of what I said that galactomyces does, but where bifida really shines is that it actually helps with the skin barrier. They're also getting some fermented content from magoli, which is a fermented wine, sparkling wine line from Korea, and that is actually derived from rice. And so they get the magoli from fermented rice, and we know rice is a very good brightening ingredient for the skin. It has a lot of antioxidant capabilities. So overall, just all those things that we don't always think about, like all of these little things in skincare that really contribute to healthy skin, but they really do help, like I said, not just for your skin to look good, but for your skin to function in a really strong and healthy manner. This is an extremely rich, creamy, nourishing essence. Wow, it packs in a ton of moisture. This is not for oily skin. I'm going to say that right at the top of talking about this texture. It is very, very nourishing, very, very skin softening, very good for dry, truly dry skin. I do have combination skin that fluctuates with the season. So now that we're getting later into the fall season, we're looking ahead to winter, my skin is starting to feel a little bit more on the dry side, and it's really inviting this essence and drinking it up and really appreciating. Remember, all those oils and that lipid content that I talked about, that's very skin nourishing, very rich, and this creamy texture just comforts and envelops my dry skin, and it feels so baby soft at the top. It's delicious, truly it is. However, when I first started testing this back at the end of August, when it was still really, really hot and quite humid, my skin was like, it's a little thick. It's a little heavy feeling. So I'm really speaking from an experience with my foot a little bit in both sides of the skin types, right? When my skin experiences summer, it's more truly combination, maybe even a little bit more on the oily side. So it actually felt a little bit too heavy for me. But now, seasonally appropriate, as my skin is feeling a little bit more dry, this just feels really good. It actually feels quite soothing to my skin when it's feeling a little stressed out as well. Most likely because my skin does well with ferments, and I think that they really do feed those, like I said, those protective mechanisms in the skin that really help with the inflammation and the irritation that can accompany that. So I just love that it's like feeding the overall health of my skin, the strength of my skin. I do think that it contributes to glowy skin. I feel like I'm at a very optimized state with my skin right now. So when I'm talking about like glowiness and stuff, like I've kind of gone very far with my skin brightness. So I notice it a little bit, but if you're just starting your like skin brightening journey, I think you're going to actually notice a much bigger benefit using something like this. But I just got to keep it 100% real, right? Like I have been in the skincare game for a very long time, and it takes a while for those results to show up, but it's paying off, right? And so this is for me more of a glow maintenance type of product than like a glow enhancing product. But like I said, if you're dealing with dull skin right now, I really do feel that you're going to see a glow up with this type of product. Let's talk about the Black Rice Moisture Airyfit Daily Sunscreen. So this is the chemical sunscreen from Haruharu. You know it because it's the yellow bottle. And this is offering SPF 50 plus PA plus 4 protection, and they're using 5 all new generation chemical filters. So this is a really impressive sunscreen because of the texture. It's not so essency and dewy and wet feeling and looking on the skin like some K-beauty sunscreens are extremely shiny, right? And very emollient in a way. And it's not so overly moisturizing like a traditional cream sunscreen can feel, where it's like a little bit too heavy, almost like a moisturizer, like an additional moisturizer on your skin. It actually is like a really good in-between type of sunscreen. Now, if you're familiar with the Skin 1004 Hyaluronic sunscreen that I absolutely love, it's definitely on that essency, maybe even slightly wet side of K-beauty sunscreens, and the Beauty of Joseon Probiotics plus Rice sunscreen. So that's the original one that has a much more creamy moisturizer-like feel to it. Very much medium weight on the skin. Those two sunscreens, if they had a baby that took 50% of those qualities and the texture into one sunscreen, it would be this one. This is exactly how I think about this sunscreen. It has the lightness and the breathability and the comfort level of the lighter Skin 1004, but it sidesteps the wetness and the dewiness. And then the Beauty of Joseon does have this really nice moisturization and skin softening effect that this one has, but just not as heavy on the skin because it's not as creamy. And so you get this really fantastic, lightweight cream texture that spreads almost more like a gel without that wet feeling. Dries on the skin very nicely, spreads evenly. I don't detect a white cast with this one, so I would say it spreads and dries clear on the skin. But you do feel this really nice skin softening effect at the top with very minimal shine. It's not a wet shine at all. And it actually feels a little protective and a little occlusive, but just not heavy. It really performs well underneath makeup too because it dries quickly, right? And so it's not messing around or shifting my concealer or foundation in any way. It just actually has a nice prep for makeup application in my personal opinion. And so yeah, breathable, comfortable, non-irritating, no white cast. It's easy to reapply with this one. I didn't get any pilling with this sunscreen. It is really one that is gaining a lot of popularity, and I totally understand why, because you know, as soon as I tried it out, I was like, I get it. I totally get why people love this so much, and count me as one of them. And that's what leads me into my last pick for the video, which is the Black Rice Pure Mineral Relief Daily Sunscreen. So this is a mineral sunscreen using zinc oxide, and it offers SPF 50 plus PA+4 protection. Whenever I talk about this sunscreen, I always introduce it as, you know, one of my favorite mineral sunscreens, and I personally hate mineral sunscreens, you know, like take it from me, I never like mineral sunscreens, but I do like this one. And I do have a video review on this. You can definitely check that out if you want to dive a little bit deeper into this sunscreen formula and my experience with it. But truly, that's what it comes down to. I do not like mineral sunscreens. I do have some melanin in my skin, right? So it's just never going to be a good fit there because there will always be some type of white cast on my skin. And I also do have very dehydration prone skin, and there's something about the mineral filters themselves that seem to zap a lot of moisture from my skin, and so I have to be careful with that. All that being said though, I do occasionally use them, and I do test them out for my channel when the timing is right. And what really impressed me about this sunscreen is that it actually doesn't really seem to dry out my skin that much. There is a little dryness, and that will always be present for my skin. And you know, no amount of extra emolliency or moisturizer underneath is going to correct that. There is just a little bit of an incompatibility when it comes to like zinc and titanium, right? Particularly zinc, because it is quite oil absorbing on my skin. And that's just the way that it is. However, some of it can be sidestepped depending on the formula and all of that, right? But there is just something about this one that's so much more comfortable in the, you know, the grand scheme of mineral sunscreens in my skin, that just feels so much better for me. I was really impressed with how it felt on my skin, but I was also really impressed with the texture of this. It's not dry, it's not chalky, it's not overly thick and like a hard to spread cream on the skin. This does have a cream texture, but it's silky, it's airy, right? It spreads evenly across the skin. It really distributes very, very nicely. And while there is a white cast, again, on my skin tone, and I can only speak from my experience when it comes to, you know, the amount of melanin that I have in my skin versus somebody with a deeper skin tone, right? For my personal skin, I notice it. It's there, but it's not too bad. It's workable. Something some makeup can correct. So I'm okay and comfortable with it, but it's not that type of chalky, thick texture that is like really streaky, that's really white, that builds up really grossly and chunkily, right, on dark hair, dark eyebrows, your hairline, right? So if you have to wear a mineral sunscreen, or maybe you're somebody who enjoys them, I know those people exist, it's not me, but I have to say, for somebody who doesn't enjoy mineral sunscreen, this impressed me. So if you have a favorite from Haruharu, let me know in the comments below, and you can check out my playlist with other skincare brands and a lot of K-beauty brands with my top favorite products. Definitely go and explore that. And if you have a suggestion for a brand I haven't covered, definitely let me know. If you enjoyed the video, it was helpful for you, but you haven't hit subscribe yet, please, I'd be so honored if you'd come join our skincare community and turn on notifications so you're never out of the loop. I love you so much. Thanks for being here with me today, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.